My hope is that you will be willing to focus a little bit deeper on how you interact with every child that crosses your path during the school day. Because if there's one thing that I want you to walk away with today, it is this. Every single one of you in this room, regardless of your title or your position, has the amazing ability to connect with a child. And for some children, trust me, that connection will truly be life-altering. And you may be the only one that has the ability to connect with that child. You know, when I start talking about relationships, a lot of people act like I'm trying to convert them over to the dark side. I've worked with teachers that feel like, God, if not for the kids, this would be a really great gig. The things I'm going to share with you today, I've learned while I was in the trenches, but also it's backed up by a mountain of research. And what research is telling us is that when we have healthy connections in the building with our kids, great things happen. And I tell you, it's us as educators that can be the ones that can connect with these kids and help them understand we're going to shine the light on the path to a brighter future. Because some of our kids are struggling to hold on to hope. And that's where we come in. Student achievement goes up. Test scores goes up. Motivation and engagement goes up. And let me tell you, when you've got an 11th grade American history class staring at you at 7:05 in the morning, you hope you have some increased engagement and motivation up in there. Because that's a tough crowd. And I knew two things about boys in all the years that I played hoops. One, if you lay a ball in a room anywhere near a guy, 99% of them will pick it up. It's in their DNA. They have no choice. They must. That was my first piece of bait right there. Second thing I knew from all the hours of playing with guys and being around guys, even if a guy does not play a sport, he cannot fathom that you, as a woman, could possibly be better than him. That was my second piece of bait. And so I started. And so here I am. Now the girls, you know, are absolutely loving it. They are loving it. The guys are tripping. He's dying a slow death. I'm spinning it, and my exclamation point, I got it. I reach over, I get my ballpoint pen, I put the ball on the end of my pen, I grab a piece of paper, and I said, "You want my autograph?" How many of us have found ourselves going, well, if only they weren't being raised by auntie. If only they didn't have 12 kids in the house. If only dad wasn't an alcoholic. If only, if only, if only. Have we not done that? We can't control anything that happens before they get to us. But in Bonnie's research, she says, we need to start creating a nurturing, positive, supporting environment in the school. And if we do this, and we have three things in that school and in that classroom, resiliency is going to increase. Kids need us desperately to see them, to acknowledge them, to connect with them, and to be that stabilizing force in their life that they are not getting in their homes. Can I get a hallelujah? Research also says, though, that the elderly can play a humongous role in connecting with kids. Well, guess what? If you're over 30, they think you're old. So you qualify on both fronts. That's a good thing. There's no way he'd receive that unless he knew that I was in his corner, I had my arm around his shoulder, and he's getting a kick in the pants because he knows that I know he can do better. When you form that relationship with kids and you begin to have the bar raised for them, you may be the first person in their life that has ever said, that's not good enough. I'm talking hardcore rednecks that were dipping snuff and had the jacked up pickups and the gun racks and the rebel flags in the window and the bumper sticker that said, "Friends don't let friends drive Chevys." Hardcore rednecks. But I was stepping into territory where I was dealing with hardcore gangbangers who would look you in the eye and tell you they fully did not expect to live to be the age of 21, and they were good with that. And I walked into my classes, and I'm looking at Asian, Hispanic, and black. And they're looking at me like I'm from another planet. And I open my mouth, and they're convinced that I am. You. There were days that I'd be walking into school, and I would think, that's it. I'm going to walk in, I'm telling my secretary to hold my calls, and I'm shutting my office door. And then one of my other personalities kicked in and is like, hello, you don't have a secretary, and you don't have an office door. I don't care if they're this big or this big. These kids need to hear that because they're not getting it at home. They need to know that you are going to hold them accountable. And when they begin to feel like somebody believes that they could do better and it's going to hold them accountable, amazing things happen. In 3rd grade, my music teacher noticed me. She smiled at me and she acknowledged I was there. This was unlike any other teacher I had ever had or my parents. That impression has stayed with me my entire life. Do you greet your kids? Do you make eye contact with your kids? Do you see kids in the hallway? Make sure that you have a contact with them. That person was almost 50 years old, had been in the system either 3 or 4 years educationally, and that's the first time that that child had felt like someone saw them. You never know the impact that your words or your thoughts or your deeds are having on a child now or years to come.